Thank you, Basic Arc System Works. Thank you, Basic Soft Circle French Bread. And thank you, North American publisher Axis Games. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Under Night In-Birth Exe Late Clear. I know there's no EA, but trust me, late clear.
Under Night In-Birth.
Last night, at the dawn, a young man shows up. Hellfire burns down the surroundings. The ice coffin quietly lies. So the time comes. Here, ring the bell of the dawn. The dark night will soon be over. Glad to have enough time to be able to read all that. And I also want to thank LURKIT for granting me the opportunity to make any kind of content with this game here. LURKIT is really cool about helping content creators to make content about all kinds of video games you may or may not expect on there, including some indie games and some bigger games like I Want to Think This Is. This had actually been featured on the main stage of the Evolution Championship Series, or EVO for short, last I checked. But now that I've gotten all that out of the way, congratulations! You have graced and therefore humbled the uncommon soul with your mere presence alone, and you need to know that you're awesome for doing so. And if you're already high, any combination of liking, commenting, subscribing, or sharing would get you way higher than even that if you're already high. So, after too much thinking and not enough doing, I figured the least I can do is show a basic overview of the game, mainly a little bit of the tutorial in terms of differences that set this apart from games like Melty Blood, Guilty Gear, and Blaze Blue. Probably go through the arcade mode, and if I'm lucky, maybe one online match for some real challenge if the arcade isn't enough. So we'll just have to see about that. I think for right now, let's go into the tutorial and see about any kind of things that set it apart from your usual anime fighting game. Actually, in general, this tutorial is very well broken down. So, Novice has stuff like controls and other things to know, like attacking. And this is the beginner course, controls and rules specific to fighting games. Intermediate is about powerful moves that'll help in battle. This works under the assumption you generally know how fighting games are played. I do, but do you? Do you have any favorite fighting games? Let me know in the comments, I want to hear. Then expert course for about how to learn techniques specific to the fights in Under Night. Then veteran is complex techniques that can give the edge. So that's all course subjects there. And where do I want to go, really? Attacks, specials, like special attacks, chip damage, projectiles, EX special attack, infinite worth, then infinite worth EXS, infinite worth EXS drawbacks. What do we see about this here? Probably about invincible moves too, just to check some stuff here. So you got your standing, of course. What's more unique? There's the assault. That'd be forward and D. Basically, an arced air dash or a short hop or something along those lines. You can do it in the air as well. And then attacks or jumps while dashing adds a dash effect, which results in a longer reach and a boost to the jump distance. Dashing even lets you guard while dashing, so there's something about that there. You can close in with dash guard. So I see it's all by category there compared to difficulty, which is actually shown all in order there. So there's cancels, there's rush canceling. What is rush canceling? I forget. Down with A after hitting them with that, so repeatedly entering the same commands. Placing moves that have a prolonged hit effect. So having a longer hitbox, it sounds like. Attacking repeatedly, whether or not the attacks are guarded, is rushing. So that lets combos connect if they land and keeps up opponent's guard to reduce overall risk. So that's different from confirming hits there. That's going to be different from rushing, I think. And let's see about the infinite worth here. I could stand to have a refresher on the infinite worth. Extremely powerful special attack using all 200 points of your EXS gauge to use. So it has the universal command of half circle forward and D. The cut-in effects for infinite worth are impressive to watch, so says Linne. Is it Linne or Linne? I forget, I think Linne. And the user is invincible and deals big damage, so it's a great finishing move. So his would be the Gyre Vortex. Then what about Infinite Worth EXS? The strongest special attack here. So you gotta have 200 EXS meter, and life must be 30% or less. And you can use all 4 buttons to do it. Not only flashy, makes the user invincible. So I feel like you gotta be bigger in with that. I think you gotta be closer up for something like that. And for anybody who's into BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle, if I remember right, if I'm wrong, please tell me, I need to be corrected. But if I remember right, that would be his astral finish there, his astral drive or astral art. I forget the name of the term actually. His astral something, I know that. Or I believe that anyway. What are the drawbacks? If used outside of Vorpal, you'll go into grid break. So it's better to use it when in Vorpal, or to be knowing or to be sure when you beat the opponent. And even if you use it in Vorpal, you'll exit Vorpal after use. That'd be okay because your grid will still be active here. Which reminds me, we should probably look into the grid here. Combos, combos, combos. We're pretty good about combos in general. Then guard, throw, break, stun, counter, recovery, Okizeme, grid. Let's check about the grid here. That is very unique to Under Night In-Birth here. So, that's telling us about Vorpal here. Under certain conditions, your attack power will increase and your grid gauge will flash. So you need to fill the grid gauge, actually. That's what the diamond-shaped gauge at the bottom is. So you have your health bars up top, and then you have the grid gauge at the bottom here. The bell actually starts with the grid gauge empty, but Linne decided to throw 3 blocks in for visual confirmation because she's good like that. So to go Vorpal, the grid has to be greater than the opponent's, and you gotta wait about 7 seconds. If you move forward, your attacks hit. If you guard right and other things, your grid will fill up. Then, a circular gauge will fill up behind the diamonds and all. When that's full, that'll let you know that the cycle is over, and whoever's got more diamonds in will go into Vorpal. I honestly forget Hyde's moves. I've played a bit of Under Night In-Birth Exe latest, And then I forget about playing him much in Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle. So, you saw the circle fill up and you saw the grid gauge actually glow. So, that circle is the TS cycle. Or that's the TS gauge here. That's the round gauge. It increases clockwise and does a full cycle when it fills to the very top. The very top, if I can speak right. Even if you fill up the grid gauge, if it's not more than the opponent's, you don't go Vorpal. So, take a close look at the circle there. You actually charge the grid gauge by holding D, for example. But the more you fill it up, the less it tends to fill up in general. That is something I swear is a thing here. When you saw that circle fill up, the TS gauge filled up. And because I had more grid than the enemy, that means that I'm in Vorpal. So that is concentration, holding down the D button. It actually increases your grid gauge while lowering your opponent's. Why can't I talk? You'll actually use some of your EX gauge, or EXS gauge, to accelerate the fill speed of the grid gauge. So, Linne suggests using concentration to fill it up when the TS gauge is about to go full cycle. And it will fill up faster if you got some EXS meter there. Wanted to fill 7 blocks there, it looked like, for the tutorial. Force function is a thing with B and C. It's a character-specific move using the grid gauge. And the property of it is actually different between characters, like Hyde's does massive damage. Using force function depletes a gauge block. But you can do it without a full block. That'll actually increase the opponent's grid gauge though. And in Vorpal state, you only use half of what's needed, and the opponent's grid gauge stops filling. So then there's good opportunities there. Big slash there. I think it's something you can hold too. Maybe it's not, I don't know. I'm gonna retry just to see. You can charge it, I just wasn't able to charge on the last input there. I thought that was possible. Then grid break. If you take damage while your shield is up, that's a problem here. Can't use anything like assaults or shields here. So, that's an assault there. That's a forward dashing hop there, for example. It only goes forward. But the shield is when you hold back in D, or back down in D. So that was a standing shield, and because I did a low attack, that ended up doing a guard break, or grid break, I should say. So what does grid break mean? Guarding attacks will shorten the break period, but by breaking the guard, last I checked, you won't be able to use anything like assault or shield or other grid functions. But if you have good defense otherwise, then you're going to be able to shorten the break period. Apparently if you use A attacks when you break someone's grid, it won't last very long, so you can just wait. But aside from A attacks used to break the grid, the waiting period can be long, so it may be better to use Veil Off to recover from it. Veil Off is a burst mechanic that I'm probably going to need to look into. How important is Vorpal here? You can do Chain Shift in Vorpal. And increasing your EXS gauge using Chain Shift is key in using some EX specials and then using Infinite Work. Chain Shift can counter opponents, reduce risk, and increase the damage output of your combo. So it could be a good idea to Chain Shift while trying to stop the opponent from using their Chain Shift. The EXS gauge fills rapidly while activating Chain Shift, even in comparison to how much it fills from a combo. Powerful things can happen with the EXS gauge, and going Vorpal can get the upper hand. So that was it for the Vorpal and all. No, it wasn't. That's a comment. Never mind. What am I thinking? So, of course, we know you gotta have more grid gauge blocks when the TS gauge goes full cycle. What you do before is crucial. Whether shield, throws, teching, concentration when there's about a quarter remaining in TS gauge. Could be a good thing to do all that. So there's plenty of things to look at here in the game. There's the health meter, the EXS meter, the grid meter, and the TS gauge. Not to mention, of course, the characters. If you're an elite, though, you can go defensive so that the opponent doesn't shield to reduce your own grid gauge. You can go on the defensive. But if you're at a disadvantage, shield can pressure the opponent, or use it against projectiles or combos so that you get more grid. But if you're damaged while your shield is up, grid break will occur, so you can't even think of Vorpal if that happens. Read the opponent's shield and mix attacks like assault overheads, low attacks, and dash throws into arsenal there. What about the TS gauge and throws? A throw near the TS gauge is risky. If it's good, you can lower the opponent's grid gauge pretty nicely, but if they tech, then you'll lose just as much. But instead of trying to throw if you have the advantage, something like assault can bait the opponent to throw you, and if you can read that, you can tech them so that you keep the advantage of the grid gauge. Sometimes these comments can be really helpful. This is one of the most in-depth tutorials I've seen in fighting games. And there are a good few that have them, but this is one of the greater ones last I checked. Concentration near the full cycle of the TS gauge can shift the grid gauge dramatically, so you can go Vorpal. Concentration accelerates your grid depending on how long you can keep it up. If you're away from the opponent, then it might be a good time. Don't let the opponent use concentration. You want to zoom in on them and pressure them with pokes. Now that's a whole different thing here, the shield. So, want to know about chain shift and veil off. Want to double check about that since it's been, kind of feels like a year since I've played it myself. Do you have any Under Night experience, or are you actively playing it right now? Because it's still a big deal game. Chain shift happens by pressing D twice while in Vorpal. Fills up the EXS gauge quickly, so you might want to see that when you have the opportunity. Each block of the grid gauge equals 20 EXS. The most you can actually charge with this is 120, so if you got 6 blocks in Vorpal, that's the max you can fill up here. So let's see about that here. You have half the gauge there, so let's fill up more, why don't we? You see how much gauge is filling up with that? Plenty of it filled up there, and concentrating makes that grid gauge fill up a little faster after the spending of EXS. There is definitely a time to chain shift, and there's definitely a time not to. You can cancel normal moves or special attacks. If your slower attacks are blocked though, you can chain shift to reduce the risk. But some moves, like invincible attacks, cannot be cancelled this way. Chain shift cancels reduce risk for powerful moves, but if your invincible move is guarded, you cannot chain shift. There's also downsides. If you use a chain shift to cancel, the EXS gauge actually fills less. So you might want to do a regular chain shift to fill the gauge instead of a cancel. There's times for both though. So you can actually cancel out the stun, or they'll cancel out of it. Let's see here. Like that. Like that there. The follow-up of that, what is it? I forget the name of it, Black Orbiter? I'm thinking Black Orbiter. Correct me on these names here. That follow-up there will leave you pretty open under plenty of circumstances if I remember right. But a chain shift cancel means that risk is effectively eliminated. Of course, that can only happen once, and then your Vorpal goes away. Some whiffed special attacks can be cancelled with chain shift. So, let's see here. Like that. And if I remember, in English, in cross-tag battle, if I do it right, split the sky! Just wanted to do that again, but I swear he says, split the sky! What about chain shift counter there? Repeatedly pressing the D button while holding down forward during a guard, that's a chain shift. But that'll be a guard shield if it's down back D or back D. So gonna have to move a bit differently here. Let's see here. Okay. So I can... This is a bit more expert here. And then I have to go into an invincible move here. And it can happen after you change shift. I see. That is invincible there. And there was that window there. How'd that not work though? There was that window in the follow-up attack there. But that is very situational, and you gotta have a good read on the enemy, it feels like. When chain shift ends and the EXS gauge increases back to normal, then grid break effects also end. So you can offset failed shield attempts and grid break the MEYERS from guard thrusts. So chain shift to break the opponent's combo and counter with guard thrust before the EXS gauge goes back to normal. What's guard thrust? That's a quarter circle back. I have to change shift though. Some of that's gonna be hard to learn here too. What is guard thrust though? I so guarded that. While guarding. That's shield though. Chain shift after effect, so trying to check things here. Okay, I see now. So that's a get off of me attack pretty much, really. I'm able to guard and then do a guard thrust. And chain shift with 6 or more grid blocks there. That's a comment. With 6 or more blocks in the grid gauge, chain shift will reset the count on your limit for jump cancels and bounds. Last I checked, that's 1 each, if I remember right. At least on average. You get a bonus towards damage output as well if you chain shift with 6 or more blocks. So that's something most people may not know. Or at least most casuals like I would not know. Anyone higher up in the food chain of Under Night In-Birth would probably be well aware of this. What about chain shifting before a KO? Vorpal doesn't carry over into the next round. So you think your combo will KO the opponent, go ahead and chain shift somewhere to fill the EXS gauge, then finish the opponent off with a combo. The EXS will carry over into the next round. It's difficult to randomly insert it into a combo though, so you might want to practice chain shift in particular combo sections to use it when necessary. Just before infinite worth or EX special attack, he says. Then there's veil off here. A, B, and C when EXS is at 100. It'll get rid of your EXS and you'll get attack buffs. So let's see here. How much veil off length depends on the EXS gauge remaining. So there are a couple of ways to get people off of you. While veil off is in effect, you can use any move that uses EXS regardless of amount remaining. If you only have a little left, it's better to use it on EX special attacks. So let's see here. There's that there. And even with only half the bar there, instead of 200, you can actually go into the Gyre Vortex, for example. So that's pretty cool to think about. You use less of your EXS gauge while Veil Off is active. You can normally use your EX special attack twice, but in Veil Off, you can go 3 times. Infinite Worth will use up the entire EXS gauge, though. Let's see here. Let's Veil Off. Have to double check things here. So let me try that again here, now that I know what I did wrong. I have to do that in the air above the enemy. And that was the wrong thing there too. Don't want to bounce them off the wall or anything. I don't want to let them recover like that. That was the wrong thing. I can't activate Veil Off in the air. There's what we wanted there. Proof that with a full gauge, you can do 3 EX special attacks here. Veil Off has a few invincible frames that cause a shockwave and blows the enemy away. If it hits, that forces the enemy into Grid Break. It's a good way to counter attacks and can change the tides of battle with the Grid Break effect. But if it's guarded, you can be at risk of being countered. So you may want to control where you actually do it. So let's see here. Just see that there, and you see that Grid Break or Grid Gauge was broken. Words are hard, like people say. Then there's a power buff using Veil Off during Vorpal. There are power boosts from Vorpal and Veil Off. Vorpal buffs you by 10%, and Veil Off boosts you by 20%. So together, that can be a 30% boost in attack power. Holy cow here. So let's see. Veil Off while in Vorpal. Let's see how much we do with 1A attack. 198 there in just Vorpal. What about Veil? 234. That is more damage there for sure. Then there's such a thing as cross cast Veil Off. It cancels an attack to activate Veil Off. Knock the opponent back with a shockwave and follow up with an extra attack. Even if it uses, or even if EXS is at 100, you can use combos using special moves like Infinite Worth. It lasts shorter than a normal Veil Off though. You can activate Infinite Worth during cross-cast Veil Off by using A, B, and C as if you activate Veil Off. So let's see here. Now I see that, and that's a more of a knock up instead of a knock back there. Oh, that wants me to do the Infinite Worth after that. Then get that Gyre Vortex in there. Then Grid Break Veil Off. That will actually remove your Grid Break state. Grid Break is problematic, so if you have enough EXS, you have the option to get rid of it with Veil Off. So, let the opponent dash and throw so that I can go into Grid Break. That was concentration. There's the Grid Break, but then we can recover from that with a Veil Off. So you can actually remove the opponent's Vorpal state with a Veil Off as well. The Grid Break effect will end, but it's also useful for rushing the opponent. Want to keep an eye on the TS gauge here. And it's also a safe way of activating Veil Off during a combo. So let's see, C, down, C, or down C, C, then jump C, jump forward C, then Veil Off. Wrong thing there. Then I went with a special instead of a Veil Off. And that was supposed to be the Veil Off there. Why did that not work? There we go. Why did that not work though? Maybe I got Veil Off on the ground. But it says during a combo though. I'm trying to see the demo here, and I don't know what the touchpad button would be on a 360 controller here. I'm using an Xbox 360 fight stick with a Brook adapter to do this. So let's just view the demo like this then. That's what they wanted, a regular Veil Off. That's what it was. I see that. That's what I was doing wrong. So at 30% vitality or less, cross-cast Veil Off will reduce the cost of EX special attacks while increasing damage. So when you're in dire straits, a cross-cast Veil Off will actually be very hurtful. it can possibly turn the tide here. So let's see here. And that's OTG there. But I kind of want to be closer up like that. Just wanted to really get that in there. So that's something to know about. I know I spent a lot of time here about some specific to the game rules. But now I want to see about the throws here, because I forget the throws here. A and D. So that's what it is. And you can dash and throw. Then throw with back in that for reverse. It can only be used in close range. Then teching stun. Throw mixes, moving throws. Hold A and B to dash, forward A and B to dash, then time to do a moving throw. Throw with a bit of distance, so feels a little bit like a Kara throw in a sense. And then teching things here. I want to think I should be okay enough. And if you were to already see all of this here, you'd be a real trooper. But I think now I'm going to go into arcade mode to give you a real show about how the game goes in action here. So let's do that here. Okay, let's see here. If you were to have seen me go through some tutorial things to remind myself of how the game works, you're a trooper. But if not, that's okay. This is more of a main attraction anyway. We'll go through the arcade mode to get a real feel of how the game feels here. The tutorial had me playing as Hyde, and under most circumstances, Hyde is who I'd normally play as. But I've decided, apparently, from what I heard before, there's someone who feels a little bit like Street Fighter's Ryu more so than Hyde from what I can gather. So I'm going to actually play as guest character Akatsuki from a Japan-only fighting game Akatsuki Blitzkampf, voiced in English by Kaiji Tang in Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle. I didn't think about changing the color neither, oops. Considering that we in North America never officially got this game, this is how we learn of his story in Akatsuki Blitzkampf. So he's got to destroy any trace of the Blitz motor, huh? Honestly, that's funny there. But it is right. You don't necessarily want to be on an empty stomach if you can help it. They gather under this night, and I can't read everything, it's so fast. The 7-day immortalized, huh? And I honestly forget some things here. I don't feel like checking every little thing here. I know that's something some fans of him enjoy hearing, the chesto there. May as well do that. But that was too easy there. That was too easy. But hey, works for me for a moment. That's how to do this anti-air. But there's plenty of ways to do combo stuffs here. Oh yeah, he's got a launcher as well. In fact here, why don't I do this here? Why don't I link into it? The infinite worth. Brace for impact! And of course there's points for the end of it all. But you get millions of points, it looks like. So I probably can skip the rest of this here. You've seen the general effects of the versus screens and the victory screens here. Can you not jump cancel that? Perhaps not. I can't tell. Unless there's a way and I don't realize it. It kind of looks like you can't. That chesto people enjoy though. That chesto. You get a trophy for forgetting to change shift. That's alright though. So you got your A, B, and C attacks here. And you got C's as well, but the C's are how you do your actual your EX special moves here, like this. You know what, there is a way for me to actually follow up with that change shift after the uppercut. That way I can follow up. What strange power does she have? An intermission. Does Eltonum know him somehow?
あなたと私は過去に道を分かつことを選んだ者同士。細かいことは一個なしです。あなたは先輩なのです。この世界の。いいえ、私たちの。しかし、愛するナオミの地を捨て、交わり生きるネジカの地へ進んだあなたが、どうしてこのような修羅うごめく焼け野原へ戻ってきたのです
I think they're talking about arcade hardware there! Naomi and Nessica. If I remember right, that's arcade hardware. That is hilarious there. And I forget, Jadelyn Gaming would probably remind me of this if need be, but I almost swear Eltonum's from the world of Melty Blood compared to this here. I think she's a guest character as well, but I don't remember for the life of me. I thought she came from Melty Blood. Naomi and Nessica, though. That's awesome.
Stop! 言い訳は結構です。要するにこの裏切り者。私とてこの世界で10年を戦い抜いてきた。もう昔のようなひよっこではない。いくら楽屋落ち寒いと言われても、これはそういうキャラ立て。今さら変えられない、止められない。この国では毒を食らうならお皿までと言います。徹底した狂気が説得力を生む。こいつにはもう何を言っても無駄だ。そう思わせなければならないのです。
If you're going to eat the poison, you might as well lick the plates. What does that mean?
わかりますか？ってあれ？どこへ行くんです？逃げないでください、暁先輩。ねえ、ここでの私は汚れ役。卑怯事であろうともためらいはない。このまま後ろからバッサリと襲いかかり、この悲劇を襲撃としましょう。
This may as well be a rival fight here. Already in stage 3 though. I can't enough think of the combo stuff I want to do though. That's definitely dangerous though. I didn't do that fast enough here. You can't air guard, but he can air shield. Definitely air shield. That is the thing you can do here. I wonder here. Okay, that does reach enough. Good. I just barely get in the vorpal here. Kinda wanna try and go for something. Oh, I teched the throw. I didn't even realize it. I was definitely left open there. I didn't think to... And then when I did, the match was over. Okay. So there's nothing after that, I see. Then what's with Batista here? I like that music already. Yeah, I like that music there. That's real nice. This is me wanting to be all aggressive here. I didn't get to zoom in or think properly. If I remember right, you can shield, you can air shield against standing shield against air attacks. I'm not gonna have all the technical stuff all figured out, I'm sure. But at a basic level, I've definitely got stuff figured out here. On a most basic level. But when should I actually change shit like that? That's definitely not the best use. You gotta hit confirm with that. I kinda wanna get an infinite worth finish eventually. Okay, strange power must be from the Under Knights, from the In-Births rather. In-Births come from the Under Knight here. And he's got some big arms there. He loves power, if I remember right. That's a nice way to do stuff, I think. But if not, then I can do projectile stuff here. Timing that like that felt so good. That felt way good, actually. And I don't need to use all the EXS if I don't want to here. I kind of really don't want to. What reach, though? I shouldn't be jumping all the time, I'm sure. Okay, good. That can combo. That's a nice thing to know. And I do want to go Veil off here. Okay, let's see here. Had to remember that for a moment. There's a Veil off finish. Raw, but this is just computer, so it ain't no big deal. I forgot that I got one earlier, actually, a Veil off finish. I totally forgot about that. What is even the basic story? I should tell you the basic story here. The Hollow Night happens every night, or every month rather, and immortal creatures called Voids show up. I'll go back to the story after this, but Hilda is bad news. And accusing him of a cosplay is funny.
時代が進んだとはいえ、自分の知っている内地とあまりに違うのでな。ちなみに頭の心配は無用だ。多少寝ぼけているかもしれんが。
ま、その風景でこの夜の元にいて素人ってことはないでしょうけどね。相当腕に自信があるように見えるけど、そっちこそ何者なの？
But he did stumble onto this Hollow Knight. He did. That's exactly what happened.
ただの一平卒だが。
ま、いいけどね。この夜の元で私と出会ってご体満足で通すわけにはいかないの。悪いんだけど、ちょっと死んでいきなさいな。
She can say that so casually. That's how evil she is.
ほう。遊び人の風景だが、やはり別の意味でクロートのようだな。以前にも似たような女を見たことがある。
Do you mean?
何その言われよ。ムカつくわ。オーケーよ。このパラドクスのヒルダ様を直々に差し貫いて。
So a woman who has no manners is going to teach Akatsuki some manners. Yeah, that'll go right. That'll go well. So the story, that Hyde I played as in the tutorial, actually, he ended up being a person who got sucked into a Hollow Knight. And because he actually survived the ordeal, instead of getting consumed by creatures called voids, invisible, immortal monsters, because he survived the ordeal, he actually became an in-birth. And instead of having EXS drained from him upon his death, he can actually control it now. So, because of that, he's able to summon that red sword, Insulator, that can actually kill in-births. And the immortal Linne hopes for him to actually kill him and bring an end to her immortal cycles. So that's what she's hoping for. And Hyde has to find a way to survive until the next night here. Boy, is Hilda dangerous. I forget exactly why, but I just know she is. Oh, she's got more grit as it is, so I gotta wait my turn here now. Oh yeah, tick throws. I swear tick throws are a bit of a thing here. But she did not last very long. She did not last long at all. Everyone he'd questioned gets all knocked out. So these quotes, it's like he hides, she judges. It's like there's all a description for each of them, like he hides. And there's plenty of text here. The story mode in this game actually takes on the form of a visual novel, if I remember right, with some fighting. That feels good there. But it makes me wonder here. That counter took away some grid from me and gave her the Vorpal. But I lost my train of thought too. There is a combo, the B combos in cross tag battle where he does an uppercut, not a dash. He does an uppercut there, then he goes up with a hit and then comes crashing down with this. If that were a thing that could happen in this game, that'd be pretty nice, I would say. And I'm not using enough meter as it is here. Why don't we do this? That's an invalid combo there, but I can still do that in theory. But I can't follow up like I can in cross tag battle. But then again, they play very fundamentally different. This is a one-on-one anime fighter, that's a tag anime fighter. I want to be sure of all this stuff here. And then I waited too long for that. I want to be sure if they were guarding or not. So that's a bit more of a better thing to do than what I was doing before. I don't remember if chip KOs are a thing in this. I didn't check that in the tutorial. Some of this music is actually pretty good, though, I gotta say. Which one is the knee? What's the knee come from? I'm pressing buttons so fast here. Yeah, I'm pressing buttons so fast here. Probably gonna do one online fight. I was expecting something here. And I could not follow that up, I see. I wonder if I could from the down C, the air down C, I wonder. But this is a bit too simple, and then the final fight will end up way harder. Too bad there's no auto advancing here, that'd be real nice. Oops. Square button actually brings up the history of stuff.
ここまで妙なのは前に見たエクソムさんいやエクトサムさん違うな何と言ったかなとにかくそれに次いで2人目だよお前でな
That would be Altinum that we fought earlier.
さっきあった妙ちきりんな女のことか
察するにお前がパラドクスを倒したようだな何が狙いか知らんがお前のような能力者を野放しにするわけにはいかない
Who's Paradox?
なるほど一見小アッパのようではあるがその目相当人を切ってきたなそんな輩をうんざりするほど見たうちに鬼を飼っているというやつだ
She doesn't seem possessed by a demon.
当たらずといえども遠からずといったところかなでどうするおとなしく従うかそれともここで我が刀の錆となるか
Harsh.
小アッパとはいえ抜いたからには容赦はせんかかってこい
Okay, I should tell you all right now, she's immortal, so she's only looking like a child, but her age far outweighs that. And if I'm right... Yep. This is my favorite track here in Under Night In-Birth. And in fact, music from Under Night In-Birth is actually available on Spotify if you want to hear that anytime, if you don't already have it anyways. If you're a Spotify fan, I know there was something a bit back that made it not such a great thing to listen to, but I'm not in it for the politics here. But yeah, if you're into that there, then you can definitely hear something like this on there. Better go ahead and change shifts so I can get that meter going. That felt like a good idea. I haven't found much reason to veil off, really. I can't veil off from that. Where's my veil off there? Oh, from Vorpal. I forgot I had to be in Vorpal. Yeah, that's what I had to do. Didn't see the grab there. That was just me trying and it didn't work out. I just wanted to do that before I lost the opportunity. So I may as well have taken her down. She was actually about to take me down. So there's one more stage here. So who's final for him? Hyde. That's kind of poetic, really.
ゲームかアニメのコスプレに見えなくもねえけど、随分本格的だな。
See, he's a high school student, so this is normal to him. Wrong button.
先ほども似たようなことを言われたな。
そこでリンネが目ぐるぐるさせて伸びてたけどよ。あんたがここに立ってるってことは、大方やり合ってたお相手なんだろ。
Can he see some kind of cartoon world, or is that him breaking the fourth wall? Or it could just be saying it metaphorically. That'd make a lot of sense.
そしてあんたが勝ったと。なら黙って返すわけにはいかね
ここだけの話だが、力を使うと腹が減ってかなわんのだ。
So wait, does he have to destroy himself? Or is there a different blitz motor that he draws from?
え。は？
というわけで、一刻も早く飯にありつきたい。悪いが失礼する。
There's a funny but understandable quirk wanting to eat, especially after a fight because of the blitz motor.
なんだ、あんた腹ペコ属性のキャラだったのか？帰るのはちょっと待ってからにしてくれねえか？幸いリンネも大ごとにはなってねえようだが、一応敵討ちくらいはさせてもらうぜ。一矢も報いずにお帰りになられたってんじゃ、こっちも面目が立たないんでな。
So how appropriate that he's the final stage. That's alright with me. Why could I not do a short assault? I forget how to do that. That was not great there. He's definitely got way too much grid. But I can't imagine how much worse this will be when I actually play online. I'll have actual hard times here. I can only imagine. Here, let's get that gauge up there. If I can make stuff happen, that is. Okay. That's alright with me. If I can win this next round, then this arcade mode is over. That was not what I meant to do. Not what I meant to do at all. I'd be a little faster on a human enemy to be sure of the hitting there. I see that Vorpal there. Oh yeah, change of cancel fills up less meter. I forgot about that. And what a confirm from an A into that. All because I wanted to be stylish. All because I wanted to be stylish. So that's something more unique there last I checked. But it may not be. What happened here? Why do I keep pressing square instead of X?
危なかった。あれ以上戦えば、こちらも燃料切れで目を回していたところだ。もう追っ手が現れないということは、あの少年が最後の敵。先ほどまでの張り詰めた空気もすでにない。これは何かが終わったということだ。
Honestly, that feels a bit anticlimactic, really.
しかしあの奇妙な技を使う者たち、一体どういう基準であのような能力を。
I think we would call that the Hollow Knight. Or the fact that the Hollow Knight turns them into in-births. Or rather, EXS would bestow such power. EXS.
まさか、奴らのあの力。かつてゲゼルシャクトが構想していたという超人兵だ。
Luckily, that's not the case.
するとあの少年はレーベンスボルンの成果ということか。
No, 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 that's not what's going on here.
いずれにせよ、あの技術を悪用する者がいるなら、早く手を打たねばならぬ。まずは富士へ向かい、研究所の現状を確認するとしよう。どうやら開けてきたようだ。さらば、夜の住人たちよ。
So that's an ending portrait there. I never did do a story mode in any Under Night anything until now, actually. We can just skip all this here. I'm not worried about it. I ain't worried about it. Thank you for playing, of course.
ゲームオーバー。
You have lost the battle. Immortal darkness captures your body to take you away from this dimension, engulfing countless battles. 7 days immortalized something. No, we won the battle, so it should be more of the end. You have won the battle. Somehow, you've summoned all the strength within you to survive the Hollow Knight. The phenomenon is over for now, but will you survive next time? I'm sure that's something that can be said here. Oh yeah, the IP helps out for customization here. Try and be quick about this, because is this really a big deal for anybody just getting into it first? I don't even know. Oh, I don't have enough to buy that. There. You can buy colors and icons and things and things and things. What could I buy here that'd be cool? Those are actually purchased as well. I could buy this here, for example. And that. I like that there. So you can buy and set your icon where the Under Night In-Birth logo is, the plate where everything's put, the title settings, the color settings, and the character portrait or something, or some such. Which I don't have the money for icons after all anymore, which is not a big deal. I'm just showing you a little bit of that. So the sad thing is, I tried to find people to fight online, but apparently there's nobody. This may be considered, in most cases, by most rights, dead. That kinda really sucks. But, in any case, hopefully you've gotten a good feel of how the game plays. Hopefully you know how Under Night In-Birth Exe Late Clear plays. That anime fighter with not big super jumps, is more traditional in the height of the arena and all that, but it's still fast-paced, and you've got, or still fast-paced, and you've got plenty to look out for in the battle, not just the health, not just the super meter, but also a grid meter that can give you a bit of a bonus, or if you use it in wrong ways, it can really put you at a disadvantage. And there's a timer behind it all to let you know when the cycle's over and who's going to get the advantage and whatnot. This is honestly a cool fighting game that I could stand to play more of, and if you're interested, you might look into it yourself. This does go on sale a few times and all, but I don't know whether it's better to play it online through the PS4 or through Steam. I honestly don't know. Or you might have to go onto Reddits or Discords or anything like that, or your local FGC, support your local FGC, and play with anybody in your city so to get some experience and level up and get up there in the league and all that jazz. Actually, I think the PlayStation Online series or something like that might be another thing as well. Jalen Gaming has commented, and I think she's commentated for that a few times. Definitely BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle, but I thought she did for Under Night as well. I could be totally wrong about that. But in any case, that's all for Under Night In-Birth Exe Late Clear, and I want to thank LURKIT again for granting me the opportunity to show this game off in any way. And if anything like this or any other games or me just playing and telling you about stuff interests you, you might go ahead and subscribe and hit that bell icon so you know exactly when the next videos are up. It's a good idea, I think, for you to do. But until next time, stay uncommon. Later.